Hello, welcome to the Traverse Tavern, and this is LOREcana. I'm your host, Immunineer Franz. In this new series, I will take you through the art, flavor text, and the confirmed lore of all things LOREcana. Today, I will be looking at the 7 D23 promotional cards through the lens of a curious researcher, where I will analyze the things that may not be too obvious and give you my thoughts. Flavor text. To begin this episode of LOREcana, I would like to point out some of the flavor text that really stood out to me, specifically Elsa, Robin Hood, and Stitch. But before we begin, I would like to say that this entire video is just speculation, and there's been no official confirmation regarding anything. We'll start off with Robin Hood. We never rob. We just sort of borrow a bit from those who can afford it. This is a direct quote from the 1973 Disney movie Robin Hood. I like that this is the Storyborn card as well as the only card that they decided to use a direct quote for. While Cruella and Maleficent's card art put the viewer at a lower vantage point, making them seem ominous and powerful, Robin Hood is drawn from an equal perspective, which humanizes him to the viewer. The best part about a beachside concert is that there's always room for one more. Moving on to Stitch, the concert aspect is palpable here with Rockstar Stitch shredding it on the stage. If we take a look at the last few words in the flavor text, room for one more, we see that this phrase connects to an implication of Stitch's abilities to flood the field with other Stitches / low-costed cards. Room for one more really finds its home here with Stitch. Recreated by magical ink, Elsa found herself in an unfamiliar new world. Fortunately, ice works the same way everywhere. Wow. This is the first actual semblance of lore in this game, and it has some wild implications. Characters being created by ink supports using born as the suffix for the tags that we will unpack in just a few minutes. Flavor-wise, I love how they put this on Elsa, as she is a character established to have the ability to create life. Just look at Olaf. There's a sense of irony about it too. She creates life on a whim, and is now similarly brought to life by another power. Gameplay-wise, you can also make some assumptions about the game using ink cards as a potential mana system. Whether those ink cards will be in-deck, out-of-deck, or some new incredible creation from the mind of Ryan Miller, we will know the answer in due time. Borns. Now that we have some of the flavor text out of the way, I would like to move towards quite possibly the coolest parts about these cards, the Born distinction. Currently, there are 3 different Borns: Dreamborn, Storyborn, and Floodborn. These are an archetype-like title that each character has, which I believe distinguishes how the characters are created in the game's lore. Each character seems to be intentionally assigned a born archetype based on several different factors. I will also be rating how likely these are on a scale of 1 to 10. Let's go over them one at a time, starting off with Dreamborn. Dreamborn is, by far, one of the coolest implications about this game that I've seen to date. The working idea is that Dreamborn are the same characters from the original canon, but they are from another universe where they have likely gone through changes to their story that range from major to minor. The characters in this category are Elsa, Hook, and Mickey. There is no better example of the Dreamborn theory than Captain Hook himself. If you compare this Hook card with the Captain Hook from the original movie, you can notice a few differences. Captain Hook, forceful duelist, has a rip in his hat, wears armor, has a sword instead of a hook, and carries huge theory bait for the past version of this hook. There is a lantern that houses a familiar glowing fairy shape. This shows the possibility that the forceful duelist defeated Peter Pan and captured Tinkerbell to use as his own personal light source. The other 2 characters in the Dreamborn category have much fewer implications to their stories, but they're still significant. Elsa and Mickey both only show minor design changes. Elsa with a slightly different hairstyle and outfit, and Mickey with a color palette swap on his clothing from the Brave Little Tailor cartoon. Even in Elsa's flavor text, it calls out that her powers are likely very similar, if not a direct copy of the original characters. Dreamborn as a whole has a lot of interesting implications for the rest of LOREcana. In a way, it captures the Disney motif of imagination perfectly. These imaginations from the hearts of many Disney fans from across the globe will finally manifest themselves into cards. LOREcana will be the perfect celebration of all Disney franchises, both within the canon and outside of it. And I can't wait to see what Dreamborn cards Ravensburger will reveal in the future. Likelihood, 9 out of 10. Storyborn. This one is fairly easy to parse out once you separate the cards into their born categories. Storyborn seems to be the perfect recreation of the original Disney canon. The 3 characters in this group are Cruella, Maleficent, and Robin Hood. All 3 of these characters are essentially one-to-one to their original designs. Going back to the flavor text, I'll mention again how Robin Hood's is a direct quote from his movie, and is the only card that calls out the original source material in such a way. This one feels very cut and dry to me. Likelihood 9 out of 10. Floodborn. Being the sole distinction with only one character so far, this is definitely the most unknown, but we will work with what we got, and what we have is Stitch. From Stitch's background and abilities, I believe that Floodborn is either a botched creation of these characters, maybe a spilled vat of ink, or a mass creation of said character. Both of these options support Stitch's ability to combine onto other Stitches and probably revolves around playing similar characters. Could this be other versions of Stitch? Or could it be versions of the other 627 aliens from the Lilo and Stitch franchise? This is a personal favorite of mine, so I cannot wait to find out. Likelihood 5 out of 10. Let us know your thoughts on our thoughts in the comment section below. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell. I'm Immunineer Franz, and we can't wait to see you again at the Traverse Tavern.